we're going to quickly, go over what happened this week, what's going on, where am I at. If you're new to this channel, that's what we do. I'm personally going through my own journey while at the same time sharing it with you guys so you can do the same. If you've watched my last TikToks, you've known, if you follow me on TikTok, you know that's where I'm at right now. So this week, since, as you guys know, or I'm not sure if I shared this already, with the sales gig I was working, I had to move back to my parents' house. So now I'm starting over. I don't have a car, I don't have a phone, I don't have a job. I'm basically at zero, right? I'm basically at zero. And in terms of the theme being that we're trying to use our natural abilities to do fulfilling work. Right now, what that looks like for me is sales, right? I still believe that sales is what is in alignment with me right now in terms of yielding high returns, and also in terms of doing something that I truly enjoy, which is connecting with people and helping them make an impact in their own life, right? And so even though I failed with that last year, there are a lot of things I learned. I still am not giving up on sales. I'm still moving forward with sales. So that's what I want to talk about right now in terms of where am I at, right? How am I going to go about doing this? I think one thing I learned in round one, when I just knew the skill and I just moved out, was that if I'm going to be moving out, then I definitely need an emergency fund, right? I need at least 6 months of emergency fund of just going through the stage of figuring out how this works. The best thing to actually do now that I'm looking at it was to actually stay here in my parents' house. So it's both a setback and a fortunate situation that I actually have the opportunity to move back to my parents' house, right? So as of today, what am I working on? The biggest thing for me right now is to secure an immediate form of income, right? And so the reason I'm looking to secure an immediate form of income is because I do need a car, right? But more importantly, I'm looking to secure a job, preferably in sales, in my area physically right now, to be able to get a phone, get a car, but also to have disposable income for mentorship. Because if it's one thing I learned, mentorship is extremely important. That is something that you're not going to be able to get around when it comes to actually building skill sets, right? Whether you go to college or you go the entrepreneurship route, you have to realize the importance of mentorship, because it's a gateway to skip all of the steps of not knowing what to do, of breaking into something new, right? And even with mentorship, there are things that I realized for myself that I did wrong, right? There are lessons that I learned about mentorship. And one of the major things with mentorship is that I realized that I have to make sure that the people that I connect to, not only one, they are very good at the skill, but two, how far have they been able to get with them doing it, right? Because my goal is to make 30K per month in sales. That's always been my goal. But the people that I've gotten around in this space had this kind of attitude that it's not possible. So I had this, light, if you will, kind of shut down, because I really started to believe, maybe this is impossible, until I started looking at other people in the space that are saying, yeah, 15K per month, 20K per month is broke. Like, you're not making any money. And it just opened my mind. It reignited my mind that there is actually a path to making that kind of money, right? Which would be awesome if I can make it. And so that's when it made me realize that the mentor that you get is extremely important, right? Before, I just picked whoever I felt, right? That because that was my first time going down this road. I just picked whoever I felt was good, but I didn't know or had any awareness about how far they have taken it. Because in this space, a lot of people will just, the money that they made, it did not come from selling. It came from them reaching a certain point, and then they pivoted into coaching, right? And that's very different from someone who actually went through the trials and error of sales and actually was able to make 30K, 40K, 50K, 60K. So that's one thing, is looking at, I'm saying this about sales, but this is about anything that you want to do, right? Using what you like to do, using what you're naturally good at, and plugging it in to opportunities, but also understanding the power of mentorship, understanding the power of following someone who's already done it, seeing where they have went. The second thing is that the mentor has to be well connected, right? So one of the major things that I overlooked was that there is learning the skill of what you like. There's actually 3 stages. First, it's finding out what you have an affinity towards, which I realized was communications. But I was overconfident in the sense that I thought once I had learned the skill, I could just get out of here because I had found out a way. I knew the path to make money, right? But there's learning the skill, and then there is plugging in to the industry. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about. Even the mentors that you're signing up to, like you're listening to, are not even going to tell you, is that if you're learning a high income skill, then it means that you're providing value to business owners. And if we're talking about the online space, you're providing value to the online business owners. Now the question is, why would a business owner risk their business on you who have limited experience, right? And so when you're in the beginning stage, this was a powerful realization for me. It's about actually accumulating experiences and getting connected with the people that are key players in the industry. So the mentor that you select, you have to make sure that they're actually well connected, meaning by they've worked with, or they have the connections to big names in the space, right? And what that usually means is that you'll have to pay them for mentorship. So my outlook on mentorship has changed. It isn't just about, just signing up to learn the skill set. I'm actually having the understanding that I'm paying for the connection, for the network. I'm buying my way into the space, as opposed to just learning it on my own and just going through the grind of just like trying to pitch myself to different brands who are immediately looking at me as, okay, what have you done, right? It's a very competitive space. So on the job search end, I've applied to bank roles, so personal banker and JP Morgan Chase. I live in Wilmington, Delaware, close to Wilmington, Delaware. So those are the major industries that are close to me right now. That would be a decent role. And the reason why I'm specifically going for a sales role is because I'm strategically building my resume as well, because I don't just want to pick any job. That's what I used to do before I had an understanding of what I wanted to do. I would just pick any job and just didn't realize what my footprint, the type of footprint I was leaving behind. And so when I got interested in sales and I'm having these conversations, they're asking me, what have I done? I couldn't explain. I didn't have any kind of work in the vault that I've done that are related to sales specifically. And so, because a lot of this is how you phrase yourself as well, is one thing that I've realized, is that you have to learn how to package what you're saying, right? And that's something that I struggled with a lot, because in terms of marketing myself, in terms of being judged by appearance is something that I struggle with, because I was always someone who valued intrinsic values. So I always believed that as long as I had the mental properties, as long as I had the mental things, the external didn't matter. But come to find out that the external absolutely matters. It's when you combine the the presentation with with the content that you actually know, with the content that you know, that's when you get the best result. And even the guy, if you take a guy who knows how to market themselves extremely well and a guy who just have intrinsic values, the guy who is stronger at the marketing will win, because they know how to curate their presentation. And a lot of times the people with just solid intrinsic value, they get too esoteric, right? They get too far on the deep end where they don't even care about their presentation. They don't care about their appearance. And they just become this hyper philosophical type of person. And you don't actually want to go in that direction. You want a nice balance and realize the importance of marketing yourself while at the same time building your skill sets. And so that's why part of the reason why I'm getting the job is to be able to invest in my presentation, be able to invest in my health, really, because health is presentation, right? Be able to invest in my presentation, but also set aside some funds for mentorship. And so with the way that looks like right now, if I realize that I need to pick two jobs, I will. Because right now in the beginning stages, I would call this the stage of creating flexibility, right? Because what we're trying to do ultimately is the second stage, which is what I call accumulating resources fast, right? Accumulating resources fast. It's not making money fast. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's about being able to put value out there that allows you the flexibility and freedom to do something quickly, right? For example, if you're getting paid $2K per month and you're investing in a mentorship that's like $5,000 and you have responsibilities, it would take you longer to be able to get that mentorship. Whereas if you were bringing in 8K, 10K per month, you could get that very quickly, like with one paycheck. You see what I'm saying? But right now, in order to accumulate resources fast, you have to get past the stage of creating flexibility, which is the stage that I'm in right now, right? I'm learning a lot on both sides, and I'm just taking you guys on this journey with me. And something powerful I learned today is the way the network, the online space work, right? The way the online space work, this creator or business owner. So I recently sent an application to Bradley's sales team, because in his bio, it mentions that he's hiring, right? If you don't know who Bradley is, he's a thought leader who's worked with many business owners that you know. So for example, like Grant Cardone, and many other major names, right? He's been able to position himself very strategically through his business, Lightspeed VT, where he basically is helping those influencers or those business owners train their teams, and also to scale. He's training their team, teaching them how to train their team to scale, but also teaching them how to build a course, right? And so one of the biggest thing I learned with that, I automatically understood, okay, if he's helping business owners, he's strategically placing himself to help them scale and also help them earn income with their business, then especially if it's an online structure, there has to be a part where he's also teaching them sales. And I'm like, I don't see, he didn't have that listed in his business. However, to my calculation, I predicted, I'm like, okay, so if he doesn't have that in his business, that probably means he has that funnel through his ad where he says he's hiring. And lo and behold, that was the strategy, right? He had that funneled through his ad where basically you're paying for mentorship to get trained, and then with the idea of getting placement afterwards. So he's strategically placed himself as a bridge to high net worth individuals and also aspiring entrepreneurs like myself. And so it's like, yeah, I was looking for an immediate sales role, but the game, the strategy of being able to connect the demands of each players on the board, it was amazing, right? And so that's, if I want to leave you with one thing, is this: is as you're on your journey to figuring out what it is that you want to do, one of the biggest things that you're going to have to think about is what are the problems of the people that you're looking to serve with your specific service.